Well, Halo, the Silver Timeline. Fuck.
Silver team, on me.
Oh boy, here we are, episode 3, season 2 of Halo, the Silver Timeline. Look, I'll be honest, this season, so far, it's probably not as bad as season 1, but I wouldn't even go far as to say it's good. It's just slightly better than the piece of shit we had before, and this episode, nothing happened. Nothing happened this episode. There was no fight. There was no fights. I don't even think we actually saw an alien this episode. Now, I'm not saying every single episode needs to be some big battle or just be filled with like engagements against the Covenant. But can we have some type of action? Like this is Halo. Well, it's supposed to be Halo, so there should be something going on, right? Right? So anyway, the episode starts with Silver Team at Visegrad Relay Station looking for Cobalt Team. And surprise, surprise, Chief actually has his helmet on. Don't worry, Lo, after this opening scene and once we get past the credits, you don't even see him in armor anymore going forward from that. So as Silver Team enters the relay station, after turning the power back on at the station, they are met with FleetCom soldiers who are there to stop Chief, as technically he is going against orders being here. And let's face it, this Master Chief, this Master Cheeks, doesn't exactly have a strong record of following orders on this show. He's always breaking commands and all that type of stuff. So maybe the UNSC is right and justified to keep him on a short leash. Oh, and while we're at it, this Silver Timeline Master Chief outright lies to his team by saying that they were approved to go on this mission. Even Halo 5 had Master Chief tell Blue Team that he was going AWOL and did not expect them to go with him.
Sierra 117 to Infinity. Argent Moon scuttled. I've reassigned Blue Team. Destination Meridian. Potential contact from Cortana.
Negative 117. Another team is already being prepped to deal with her.
What the hell?
You're to return to Infinity immediately.
Negative Infinity. I don't like it.
Whoever they are, let's get to Meridian before they do.
Kelly, no.
No need to do this by yourself, Chief.
Court-martial all of us, right?
We're at the stage now where Halo 5 has more credibility than this show. You know, actually, I take that back. Halo 5 always had more credibility than this show, and that's saying something because that game's a piece of shit. So anyway, as Master Chief and Silver Team are met with these FleetCom soldiers who are there to like stop them and go, yo, what are you doing? You guys weren't even approved to go on a mission. I would like to add that these FleetCom soldiers really should have been ODSTs. This would have been a great time to have ODSTs in this story because let's face it, we could have used this to incorporate canon elements of animosity between the ODSTs and Master Chief, which goes all the way back to the Fall of Reach, which is definitely worth checking out. But I guess in the Silver Timeline, ODSTs just don't exist. So then after the credits, which again is probably the best part of this, we cut back to Akison, who is with his father, and his father unfortunately has dementia, and they discuss that Akison, who has a dead sister. Now I'm bringing this up because this does become a point that is brought back up later in the episode, so we'll get to that. But anyway, the very next scene is Silver Team being chewed out by Admiral Jacob Keyes. Now I hate how this Keyes is just a stooge and absolutely has no faith in this Silver Timeline Master Chief. Granted, this Master Chief in the Silver Timeline is an absolute idiot. But anyway, Master Chief as well as the rest of Silver Team get suspended from any and all combat actions. Now, to be fair, I don't actually have much faith in this Master Chief either, but this is such a far cry from the canon relationship between Jacob Keyes and Chief, and it's just so frustrating to see this play out on screen because we know what we could have and should have had when it comes to a Halo show, especially with the relationship and interactions between Jacob and Chief. We could have had some really cool stuff. Instead, this is what we get.
Because it's not your job to know. It's mine. Your job is to follow orders.
Cobalt was at Visegrad, sir.
However, just to throw a small tiny bone here, one thing I did like is we get to see Oni fuckery, and as someone who's a bit of an Oni fan, and whenever Oni is present in a Halo story, I become a little bit more interested. So seeing Oni doing Oni things is always, cool, at least in my opinion, but somehow this show manages to find a way to kind of make it boring. But, oh, dude, man, the way Chief and Silver Team interact with each other here, it is not how Blue Team should be talking with each other. Again, that's just the frustrating thing about this show, is we look at what they should be and could be, and instead we have this. It's just so, look, frustrating is probably the best way to describe it.
You lied to us.
I told you what you needed to know to complete the mission. There was no mission. Cobalt was at Visegrad.
Chief, can I talk to you?
This is Oni. All of it. This is Ackerson. Come on, Chief. Why do you think he's here?
Oh, I can't listen to this.
Where do you think you're going? Bannock!
You are out of control. What? You're not thinking straight. You're erratic.
Since when do you question my judgment?
But don't worry, everybody, because right after that, yay, we go all the way back to the rubble. Oh, yay. Look, this whole plot line is just filler. Anything to do with the rubble or the mighty Quan is just filler, and it's there to pad out the runtime. But it's all good, because we get to see the mighty undefeated Quan, and she is the MVP of this episode. She goes on a rampage later. So she meets up with Soren's wife, who warns that she is in danger from Soren's crew, and when she returns home to go get her son, Soren's crew is already there to tell her that they have the ship repaired and they're out to go, and they're ready to go out and look for Soren. Now this is just so obvious, and I mean very, very, very obviously bait to get Soren's wife away so they can whack her. And they want to capture her because, we'll get to that down the line. But with her not taking the bait, the crew leaves and Soren's wife begins to go tell her son to pack their shit because they're leaving. But what's the first thing she goes and does?
What?
Pour herself a drink. We all need one watching this show. Oh, and Quan's there as well. We're followed by Chief having his Captain America moment.
Sorry.
What?
Seriously, the amount of times in this show that Master Chief has disobeyed orders and he's now attacking Oni agents? Oh, this Chief is not very smart. Oh, I almost forgot. So do you remember that dude that was helping Riz out in the previous episode because she was having that whole wounded warrior type subplot going on? So Riz goes over to his place and it turns out that he is with his boyfriend. Gotta get that quota in.
Gay!
But why would they just allow Riz to just be walking around after Silver Timeline was caught on an uncleared mission and has been chewed out by Keyes, plus they have Oni up their ass? Why is she allowed to just walk around and just go into random people's houses? Well, the answer is very simple. So that way Paramount can show us a gay couple. Then going from that, we jump back to the rubble where we see Quan is sad. But her along with Soren's wife and son attempt to sneak on a ship to escape, but as they take off, the hangar doors shut, which forces them to land, and Soren's wife gets a whooping from Soren's crew and they capture her. The way the show jumps back and forth between what's going on Reach and what's going on in the rubble, I don't know, man. Like, as much as I hate to say it, if we have to have these rubble things, I think I would have just preferred a single rubble episode that just covers everything and get it out of the way. I just don't like the way it bounces back and forth, because right after that, we're back with Ackerson and Keyes, and we see that Spartan Cobalt team is dead from plasma wounds. Now, it would have been really nice to have seen this fight against the Covenant. Again, like I said earlier, I don't think we have to see every single death scene or every single battle scene, but for fuck's sakes, this is supposed to be a Halo show, and yet we hardly ever see the Covenant. But this is here where we get a conversation between Keyes and Ackerson about the Covenant already being on Reach, and we even hear the words Winter Contingency. Now, it is cool to hear the words Winter Contingency, and Ackerson believes that there's no possible chance for victory against the Covenant on Reach, and that sending the signal for a mass civilian evacuation is only going to cause panic and chaos, and instead they should focus on evacuating key and top personnel. And then there's a scene with Chief eating ramen with Paranosky. I'm not even going to talk about that on this video. We're going to save that for the breakdown live stream happening later this week. So make sure you do check that one out because, yeah, that's going to be a fun one. So with all that, we go back to Dr. Catherine Halsey as Ackerson is talking to her in that prison thingy that she's stuck in, where he basically says, yeah, lol, see ya, I'm out, I'm dipping, I'm leaving. And then she turns around to him and drops a bomb and reveals that, I believe in this timeline, and I believe it's only this timeline, please correct me if I'm wrong. So she reveals that Ackerson has a sister who was a failed Spartan that died during the augmentation process, and the Flash clones in this prison facility thing are clones of Ackerson's sister. Oh, and then Soren gets put in the prison with her, and that's the last of we see of her for him and her in this episode. So what's going on with Soren and Halsey in prison? I guess we're going to have to wait till episode 4. But don't worry about that, because we get to go back to everybody's favorite part of this crappy show. We are back on the rubble, and we see that Soren's crew are interrogating Soren's wife because she may or may not know the location of some hidden treasure. Because they're space pirates. And pirates like treasure. Oh, one cool thing about this scene is they do mention deuterium, which is what the Covenant uses for fuel. So that was cool. I believe that's the first time they've mentioned it on this show. So she ends up being put in the airlock and is about to be sucked into outer space because she refuses to cooperate. And this is when the mighty Quan shows up and just decimates the pirate crew. I mean, she absolutely destroys them. Like, seriously, we don't need a Master Chief. We don't need a Spartan program. You take Quan, get her in some Spartan armor, and throw her at the Covenant. This human Covenant war is over. And that brings us right towards the end of this episode where we're back on Reach, and Chief goes to catch up with Talia Perez and he wants to talk to her. Maybe he has a thing for Latina women, which I personally relate to. Catches up with her inside a church, and then she shows him a recording of a Sangheili message that she captured back on Sanctuary in the first episode. Now, the message itself from the Sangheili warrior is fine. No problem with it at all. It mentioned the great journey, killing the demon, and the sacred rings, you know, the thing that this whole franchise is based on. Halos. We're still yet to actually go to a Halo ring in this show, and we're on season 2. So anyway, that's all cool. However, to me, the voice sounded much more like an alien from Star Wars as opposed to a Sangheili warrior from Halo. Just listen to this. Does this sound like a Star Wars character?
Know that I am the instrument of your extinction.
Now, this is pure speculation on my part. We do get a name of the elite delivering a message, and his name was something like Var-Katani or something like that. Now, I have no idea who this is. I'll be honest, I think this name may have been made up for the show. If I am wrong, please correct me in the comments on this one. But the speculation on this part is pretty sure this is the elite that's going to be leading the assault against Planet Reach, which also means this might end up being the Silver Timeline's Arbiter. So yeah, get ready for that. Oh, and then the episode ends with an explosion outside the church. So, overall, is this season a step up from season 1? Yes. Is the season so far good? No. This is so far below the quality of what we should be getting for a Halo show. The fact we're on season 2 and we don't even have anything to do with Halo rings except for that weird little transportation, weird sex stuff in the first season. This is just a disaster, an absolute disaster of a Halo show. But you're going to see a lot of people praising it because it's better than season 1, but that doesn't mean shit. When the bar is so low, anything better than that is now considered good. I'm sorry, but I'm just completely against it. The episode individually by itself kind of sucked, honestly. Like, it was the first 5 minutes, I think, were okay. When they were at the relay station, that was fine, but everything after that was just off a cliff and just kept falling and falling and falling. However, it does look like episode 4 might be the battle episode, I guess, and I believe this is where we're going to see Spartan Freeze in action, so we'll see how that goes. I do not like, at least based off the trailers, how there just seems to be thousands of Spartan Frees, and they have that one shot, and you're just like, this is the clone army of the Republic over here. But we'll see next week. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But again, we'll be doing a full breakdown over this episode on the next couple of days on the channel, on a live stream. So make sure you check that out. And yeah, this show is a heresy, and it will not come with us on the great journey.